In the aftermath of the injury, I spoke to executives from half a dozen teams, and I just asked them in sort of a general way, would this stop you from offering Kevin Durant a max contract? And the answer was no. And if you look at the circumstances of some of the teams that are interested in Kevin Durant, the Knicks, what options do they have if they don't lock up Durant to a long-term contract? Next summer's free agent class is not very good. Anthony Davis at the top of it, but we have no idea what AD is going to do once he's eventually traded. After that, it's like Draymond Green and then a few other guys. The Clippers, a team that's also interested in Durant, if they don't get Kawhi Leonard, they're in the same predicament. They were a feel-good story all season long, what they did after Tobias Harris, but they can't go into next season with the same type of group together. They've got to go out there and make a big splash. The bottom line is there are a number of teams out there that are willing to pay Kevin Durant for 4 years in order to get him for 3.
And that's how good he is. He's one of only the
and that's what they'll be doing.
And that's what now there is. Listen, guys have come back from this injury in 8 or 9 months. And if you just play out 9 months from June 9th when he got hurt, you would say, okay, so that would mean he would be back for the very stretch run of the season and the playoffs if the team's
Even though
good enough.
this is a guy that got into this position because he rushed himself back too early, I don't think he's going to push himself back until he's 100%, which is most likely a year.
Well, I disagree with the premise that it's most likely a year. It could be a year. Dominique Wilkins said 9 months, 2 practices a day, 2 workouts a day, came back. He got hurt in the middle of a season, came back by the beginning of the next season, and averaged 30 points a game. Now, he is the best case scenario, the most feel-good story about Kevin Durant for someone that's dealt with an Achilles. But if you sign him, you have to recognize that what you're saying very well could be the case, which is he is not going to play at all that first year, but he is so good, even at worst-case scenario, a 32-year-old, which is what he would be, coming off an Achilles. Guys at his level are a bargain on a max contract, so you can make it work when you'd be paying him for 4 years and only getting him for 3.
I think it's more important to look at the more recent injuries we've had as far as athletes, given modern-day medicine, given the techniques that are totally different than what they were 15 years ago. Dominique Wilkins, yes, we use him as someone that we talk about with Achilles because he was able to come back and play at a high level, and he's a very explosive 2-feet jumper. Like, that's all he's ever been. So him coming back was significant. But modern-day medicine has changed so much. And the number one way to indicate how an athlete will recover is what type of shape are they in. So I think the last guy we saw tear his Achilles was Boogie Cousins. I think that's the best example. And if you look at Boogie Cousins and his body of work compared to Kevin Durant, so you can expect at least the same time frame because Kevin Durant, his body should heal a lot quicker than Boogie Cousins. He takes better care of himself. He does more cardio than Boogie. Boogie has never been a well-conditioned basketball, even though last year in New Orleans was the best shape that we had ever seen him. So I just believe the last athlete, Boogie Cousins, is the one from a time standpoint. And Boogie might have been ready, but he had the luxury of waiting because he was in Golden State. I expect Kevin Durant to refocus his whole life with this galvanizing moment, and I expect to see the best Kevin Durant these last 4 to 5 years, wherever he decides to go. And I know the Knicks will give him a max contract regardless of what the injury is on the MRI.
Yeah, and I do agree with Jenna, though, when it comes to Durant specifically. If it's like April and he's cleared to play, I don't see him coming back. It's not the same thing, but Porzingis knew all season long he wasn't going to play. He was going to recover fully from that injury and go into a training camp next year. I think Durant will be the same way. I don't think you'll see him rush back to get into a playoff circuit. It's speculative right now, but unless he's the Adrian Peterson of healing out there, I don't think he's going to come back and play next year. Now, what he should do is if that max contract is out there, opt out and go and get it. This obviously he has the option of triggering that option and going back to Golden State for $31.5 million. And there is something to be said about recovering on the Warriors' dime. But you have to look at the context of the entire league.
What's the benefit to recovering on their dime?
Not a lot. Not especially if you. Well, I guess the benefit is you can go and get.
This don't matter. All the guys got medical insurance. You're recovering on the NBA's dime, no matter what.
You're right, but I guess the hypothetical benefit is if you spent all year recovering there, the next offseason you get a 4-year deal. So it's essentially your 5-year deal at 30.
That is the one benefit is exactly that. Is instead of the contract expiring 4 years from now, it contract.
Yeah, but is it a benefit because less teams have money? The Knicks can't wait. You just told us the Clippers can't wait. Like, can you go to a spot and build? Because his legacy is about.
Well, they might be forced to wait, though. Like, they can't wait if Durant's out there and available. If he's not available, some teams might be forced to wait, and there'll be teams that have cap space to give it to him.
But you're not advocating he opt in.
No. This is what I'm saying. And what I was getting to was, if you look at somebody like John Wall. And John Wall, back a few years ago, took the bird in the hand. Didn't wait for the Supermax contract to become eligible. He took his max contract number. He didn't roll the dice. If you're Kevin Durant, you don't know how you're going to recover. You don't know. There might be a setback. There might be a re-injury. We've seen it all the time in professional sports. You opt out because if you're told, this is where Rich Kleiman's got to do his homework, but if you're told that you're going to get a 4-year max contract offer, you go out there and you take it. You take that money when it's available to you.
And for the Knicks, this is a no-brainer. Now, what they do with the next salary cap slot is, to me, much more complex. Do they try then to wait on that? Do they try to let the young players develop? What do they do with that other salary cap slot?
What's the domino that falls with what the Knicks have to do? I mean, there's so many people that have to wait, and there's so many pieces to this. What's the first domino?
Well, Kevin Durant is the first
domino. So we'll wait
domino.
and see what he does.
Yes, I think where the trickle-down effect is where it gets really interesting, the ripple effect throughout the league, specifically when it comes to Kyrie Irving and what Kyrie Irving is thinking right now after watching Durant go down. Now, there are a lot of people that really believe throughout the league that Kyrie's going to Brooklyn. Like, a lot of people really believe that's happening. But if Kyrie goes to Brooklyn alone, or if he goes with, say, Tobias Harris or somebody else, does that change the calculus? Does he go to New York knowing it might just be him in New York alongside Kevin Knox and Mitchell Robinson? Is he that committed to leaving Boston to go to New York, one of the New York teams, without Kevin Durant at least available for the first year? That to me is the most interesting part of all this.
I think the way this lands for the Knicks, and I think you agree, is Kevin Durant signed with them, and they sign a guard not named Kyrie, but sign a guard named Kimba. And they have Kimba and the young guys and R.J. Barrett as the core for this year. If Kevin Durant comes 9 months into recovery, then that team should be, by the way, that team should be able to be alive for the playoffs. Kimba's kept Charlotte alive.
How available do you think he's going to be, though? Like, do you think Charlotte's going to nickel and dime him? Like, that's
Michael Jordan?
Yes. I do not think
this
they're
one guy.
the
Supermax, no. But the full max there's a great. Just because you're eligible for the Supermax doesn't mean you have to get the Supermax. Like, there's a number I think they could come to given what Kemba means to that organization.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.